following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of science fiction, time travel, rage. So buckle up, nerds, because we're talking the Tomorrow War. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your fill-in host, Matthew Kadish. Alex is out of the hosting chair today because he had to drive cross-country for some weird reason, but he is going to be joining us remotely as we get into things. Alex, why don't you say hi to everyone?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Salty Nerd Podcast today. I'm coming to you from a bar in Mystic Seaport, Connecticut, drinking some gin and tonic and having a good time.
Nice.
All right. And we've also got our regular panel of nerds, starting with the barbarian space Viking himself, Matt Vader. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here as always.
And we've also got the ambassador of estrogen, Jude Juju.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you have lots to say about
Well, I
this.
live here, so.
And filling in for Alex today is Conspiracy Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. I'm only filling in the chair. Alex is here. He's watching me,
but
judging me.
But Conspiracy Tom had a lot of things to say about Tomorrow War, so we wanted to include him in the discussion.
Yeah, he came over a couple of days ago for a movie night. And he was like, "Can we talk about this movie?" And we were like, "No, we cannot."
This is crazy.
So
All five of us are here.
We didn't let him talk about it until today.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we've had all five, like the four regulars and the fill-in host.
The fill-in guy.
Yeah.
There's that time Vader kissed me when we were all trying to.
That was a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, you join the Patreon, you watch Vader kiss me.
Was there tongue?
I don't know. It's possible. It was like top of my head.
It was a forehead kiss.
Yeah, it was like
it was the kiss of death.
It was warmer and moister than I wanted it to be for just like a peck. You know, it was more than a peck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like Morty's.
Yeah. Oh.
It was his barbarian space Viking kiss.
This is how
That's how he does
in
it.
space.
My forehead's like a salt lick.
All right, but
needed salt.
Before we get to talking about this movie, let's take a quick break to hear from these sponsors. All right, guys, welcome back. And before we get going, I just want to remind everyone that you should go to saltynerdclub.com if you want to see things like Vader kissing Tom's head, because those are definitely Patreon exclusive content. We do a lot of blooper reels and behind the scenes pictures and all types of fun stuff just for the people who give us money.
We got to see it live, and it was sexy.
Yes. And if we hit 500 patrons, maybe we'll get them to make out on camera.
How do you feel about tea bags?
I'm an American. I drink coffee, my friend.
Coffee bags. All right, guys. Anyway, so let's talk about the Tomorrow War. Jude, do you have a description for this movie?
I sure do. 2021 Tomorrow War, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 20 fucking minutes.
That can't be right.
It's right. I double checked.
It's at least 4-hour movie.
Soldiers from the future come back to announce that 30 years from now we'll all be in a war against aliens. The human race is dying out and must start drafting people from the past to fight in tomorrow's war. Chris Pratt must say goodbye to his wife and daughter and spend a week in the future fighting aliens alongside his adult scientist daughter. While in the future, his daughter develops a serum to kill the aliens and entrusts him to bring it back to the past to defeat the aliens before the war starts. The government says, nah. So Chris Pratt and his band of war buddies do it themselves. They learn where and when the aliens arrive and bring the fight to them. Turns out, they were being transported by another alien species when that ship crashed in Russia a millennia ago. But when global warming causes the ice around the ship to melt the aliens, they thaw out and go looking for something to eat. Just so happens their favorite meal is already looking for them, and a fight. After Chris Pratt and his estranged father kill the last alien, the government reports that it was all part of their plan to stop the war before it started. Go us!
Yeah. All right. So, Alex, I know that you've been wanting to talk about this movie. In particular, it seems like there's a division where some people thought that the movie was okay and fun as long as you didn't think about it. And then there are others who think this movie is awful. Where do you fall in that category?
I definitely think that this movie was a ton of action, sci-fi, summer blockbuster fun. I got a lot of Independence Day vibes from this thing with the humor, with the alien action, all that stuff. I will say that the creature effects were incredible. I had a ton of fun watching that. That first reveal of the big monster when they were in like that stairwell. Holy cow, dude, that looked gorgeous. It was awesome. I do think it went on a little bit longer than I thought it should. The ending where they like went to the spaceship felt kind of tacked on at the end. I felt like the movie should have ended before then. But that being said, I think that was a really fun adventure that they went on, and I think it would have been a great setup if they wanted to like do like a sequel. Well, did you hate this? How did you hate this movie?
You can turn him off because this movie fucking sucked.
What do you mean if they want to do a sequel?
This movie
they already
was terrible.
put a sequel in the movie.
Yeah.
Did they?
It's all done. It's over.
Yeah. The first part is the first movie. The second part is the sequel. Why is this movie so long?
It's like Zack Snyder directed this movie.
Oh my God.
Whoa, here
so
we
much fun with this
go.
movie. It was such a great sci-fi adventure. Chris Pratt's humor added a lot of good elements to
There
it. Like I said,
wasn't a lot of Chris Pratt humor
Did
in
you
it.
watch this movie with your kids and it was like a
No.
nice moment between you guys?
Were you sober?
Was your dad there?
Yeah, was it
I
like
watched it twice. I watched it once in Vegas, and I watched it once on the way out driving out here.
crazy.
I had a
I
great
love
time
it.
with
So you've spent 18 hours of your life watching this movie.
I had a great time with this movie.
Oh,
I can
God.
understand
Oh,
people
boy.
if they want to nitpick the time travel thing. That's fine, but I didn't have a problem with it. I don't think time travel holds up in any movie. You could pick it apart anytime you want.
I
But
didn't have a huge problem with the
Yeah.
time travel.
No, not me neither. No,
time travel was fine. The action was a lot of fun. Like I said, the graphics were great. The creature effects was cool. I got like Starship Troopers mixed with Independence Day vibes. I had a great time.
In this day and age, they have to do better than cool CGI effects.
the CGI was good though.
It was good,
Yeah, it was good.
but that doesn't make the movie good.
They spend a good amount of money making it look good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But just like the zombie one, the Zack Snyder zombie one, they spent a lot of money to make it look good.
Yeah.
They didn't spend enough money to make it make sense.
They need to
Yeah.
have somebody write this thing and that so it makes sense.
The writer has never written anything. The
I don't
director has never directed anything.
Actually, he directed the Batman Lego.
Lego
movie.
Batman. And
Oh, well,
and-
that's
an
perfect setup.
episode of
Yeah.
Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
An episode of this isn't a joke. Episode of Moral Oral.
A couple
Yeah.
I
video,
know it's not a joke, but it's still funny.
It's really funny.
couple Rihanna music videos.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the writer,
So
he
what-
wrote nothing
Oh.
substantial.
Was his name
So
John
what about this
Kasdan?
movie- What about this movie didn't make sense to you?
Oh no, it made sense. My complaint is the same complaint I have with every one of these kind of movies: is that this was the planning. This was the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how you fought this war.
Yeah.
You just sent Chris Pratt and some housewives to the future with a machine gun they never shot before.
And didn't even show him the monster.
Didn't do nothing. They could have built walls. They could have put Gundams. They could have built Gundams. No, we did nothing. No, we just sent some housewife into the future. She came back without a leg. It's cool.
They could have sent everyone to the past
Yes.
to work on
the fence.
No,
Yeah,
no,
makes sense.
because the time travel works like the range game on The Price is Right. It's only a certain spot.
That's
and it
fine.
keeps
No,
moving
what
forward.
they're saying is because there are only 500,000 people left in the future,
Yeah.
they could have taken those people from the future, sent them to the past to
Yeah.
protect them,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
and then prepare instead of sending people from the past into the future to fight
Mhm.
the aliens.
Okay.
when the war's already in
What's-
full blown war. Let's bring everyone to the past. You can clearly get there, and let's figure our shit out. Let's
Yeah.
set up the research booth. Let's train people for more than a day before we send them out there.
Or let's spend 30 seconds and find the spaceship under the ice and go take it out.
Yeah.
Well, they did have the date wrong, like when the
Yes.
aliens first showed up.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know where they came from or stuff like that. But little things like the guy in the red shirt who had gone on 3 tours, he's got that claw.
Uh-huh.
And that claw just so happens to be from one of the original
The original.
white
yeah,
spikes
somehow.
that clawed out of the Russian ice. And they're like, oh, that has volcanic ash in it.
Oh, yeah.
You'd think that people from the future who studied these things religiously would have found that stuff.
That was a
They
already.
really
could
smart-
have killed a dead white claw, transported it to the past and just been researching it for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And then when this shit goes down, we are ready.
Is that what these things are called? Is White Claws?
Yeah, White Claws.
Like the drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right?
No, white spikes.
White
White
spikes.
spikes.
Sorry.
All
Sorry.
But the White
God, we're
Claw,
still-
it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Alex. I feel like we're talking over you. Go ahead.
Because we haven't
No, it's
turned
fine.
in.
Do your worst, sir.
I just think it's funny you guys call them White Claws, like we're such a bunch of alcoholics.
Did we get to fight the Zimas in the
Ooh.
in the sequel?
I haven't ever liked a White Claw in my life.
No, I thought the information was interesting. I did kind of laugh at the whole idea that like the only person who knew enough information about this was the kid from high school who like knows everything about volcanoes.
Because he watches a lot of History Channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ancient
Yeah.
volcanoes.
Yes.
Not just
Ancient
volcanoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing modern, nothing helpful, nothing useful.
I'm glad
Everyone
they-
hated that kid.
I'm glad they at least set that up before they needed to use that information.
Of
from
course
it.
they said it.
Well,
up,
I
though.
kind of saw that coming. I kind of.
Well,
It's
I'm
like, why
just
are they making fun of the
saying,
volcano
in a
kid?
lot of movies that are
Oh.
very, very shitty, they just don't do that part to lead up to it. They just go, "There's a kid in my class that knows about volcanoes."
Yeah, like when that happened, that scene where the kid, everyone was like, "Oh, he's going to talk about volcanoes." I was like, "That better come back later
Right.
on in the
Yeah,
movie."
yeah.
And thankfully, it did. They actually. paid
I've
that
done
off.
enough of these shows now with Matt.
The payoff. Oh, we got the payoff.
I'm always looking for the obscure little setups
Yeah,
at
that
the
is
start
true.
of movies
Mhm.
for the payoffs at the end. I'm
Matt-
like, oh, that volcano kid's gonna come back.
Matt
I
has love
knew it. I
foreshadowing.
knew it was gonna happen.
Every time we get a payoff, we all spontaneously orgasm.
So, oh, they set that up 3 hours ago.
the kid. They're gonna go
Uh-huh.
after the kid.
And then you high five yourself because no one else is there.
Yeah, I'm a movie nerd.
Yeah.
All right.
I see what's happening here.
All right, Alex, tell me why you like this movie so much. Like seriously.
Do you like it so much,
No,
or was it just like okay?
Can I say how much I like the fact that someone liked this movie?
Yeah.
I just had fun with it. That's all I was going in for. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
okay,
fun.
we got action adventure sci-fi with Chris Pratt, who's one of my favorite actors working right now. There's no overly preachy element to this. Like, if any other movie was going to do this, they would be preaching the hell out of like the global warming thing because that's part of the setup for the aliens and where they came from. But they didn't mention it. They didn't like preach to it all. It was just, hey, let's go on an action adventure sci-fi fun movie. Great action, great comedy. I think Chris Pratt had really good chemistry with that the guy that he was with, who was like just a complete coward. And then by the end, he found his strength and he found his courage. Thought that was all really fun.
I find it kind of interesting that you think that way because I watched this movie and I didn't think that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I saw. Oh, look, there's a bunch of really hot chicks who are in charge of the military right now.
I noticed that.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
I like that actress though, so maybe I'm a little bit
Yeah.
biased.
It's like
But,
it's like it was a little unbelievable for me. It's like why are all these women in charge of the military?
There's only 500,000 people left.
Why
on the planet,
why are we still using jets from 2018 and 2051?
Because we're not building new ones. Okay, so one more thing before I forget, I want to mention. There was a deeper element to this about being happy with your family life and being happy with who you are and not always being like, oh my God, I need to strive for more. Chris Pratt's character in the beginning was like, I'm meant for something better. I'm supposed to do something glorious. And he was really depressed. And it turns out that in the regular future timeline, he dropped into a deep depression because he didn't feel like he was fulfilling his goals in life, and it tore his family apart. And when he realized that his true purpose in life was to have a good family and create a good environment for his daughter. And that's what his true gift was. I thought that was a great message for the movie. I thought it was very timely. I struggle with that myself, like whether or not I'm doing good enough on my career and, providing for my family. But no, the whole point is that you're with your family and you spend more time with them than you do at work. Like that's the whole point. So I really appreciated that. That hit home for me as being a family man and having kids and stuff. That element to it was surprisingly poignant.
I hear you.
Well, Alex took the wholesome angle that I just did not see. I was ruined by...
Says the single guy with no kids.
Yeah, and so much just bleh for life. But yeah, okay, so for me, Alex, I think he's hitting on this right on an angle that I wasn't paying attention to. Because at some point, I realized that his daughter invented time travel so her daddy could save the world.
Did she invent time
No,
travel? Though?
no,
I don't think she's the one that invented
the
it.
wormhole. Yes, she did.
No.
You want to watch it again? She
I
invented the
don't think so. I
wormhole.
don't think
You
so.
know what? Every time Tom brings up a challenge, it turns out he's right.
I'm right.
Well, okay.
Yeah, she invented the wormhole just so at the end of time she could send the only thing that could kill them for some reason was some virus with her daddy, because she knew her daddy was the best before he got sad. So she sends daddy back when he was a hero, and now daddy can save the world, but nobody wants to listen to daddy. So daddy has to literally go with, what would you call him? Conspiracy Santa? and save the world.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. Hardcore J. Jonah Jameson.
J.K. Simmons in this movie is awesome. My favorite line from him was when he snipered the freaking white spike and he was like, haha, dumbass.
Oh, you know, he's good. The characters are good. The interactions are good. The movie is bad.
It's a
pretty movie.
I have a hard time buying it. Everybody's dead, so we're going to draft all the mothers and aunts and uncles and a couple other people that actually know how to shoot a gun and just going back in time. And
they started off with the military people,
Yeah.
but they all went and died, so they had to start recruiting civilians. That was the whole. They described that. In the credits.
Actually, what it was that they couldn't recruit all the military people because the only people that they could send into the future were people who died in a way that didn't affect the future already. And so they were drafting not only military people, but also civilians. But the thing is like they weren't really training the civilians very well.
No, it's like,
no,
this is your gun.
This is a pew pew. You point it this way and it pew pews things.
Yeah, like they said in the movie that they didn't want to scare the people too much before they sent them into the future, because then they would be reluctant to actually go. But the draft was mandatory; they were going to have to go anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So why not train them to survive?
Right.
Like they showed them training in weapons where they're shooting these targets, and they're human targets. They're like, shaped like humans. It's like, why don't you actually show them where they should shoot the white
scare them
spikes
too much
to actually kill the white spikes?
Why don't you just invent a gun that can kill it instead of shooting it with 7,000
They
rounds?
don't have time for that.
It's a bigger bullet. They have time.
and you know what? Another thing is like because the future is basically overrun by these aliens, they could be producing like food, medicine, ammo, stuff like that in
Reproducing.
the past, and putting it and shipping it to the future so that they could like resupply like these people.
You know how many kids you can have in 28 years?
You know what?
A lot.
You know what my biggest question was coming out of this movie? Was if you materialize 1,000 feet in the air, will you actually survive falling into a 6-foot deep pool?
No.
Science.
You might, but
This movie
all
sucks.
of your bones are broken.
Okay,
No,
this movie sucks.
But not if your buddy falls on you as you surface. You're gonna die.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm out. I was out at that point. I was like, what is happening right now?
The thing that got me about that scene was they never explained what went wrong.
No,
I know, right?
To make that happen.
They did. Because I thought the same thing. That's why I watched it twice. Because I was like, why the hell did they drop it like 1,000 feet above a skyscraper? There's a really like a 3-second clip of the lady on the other side of the wormhole going, there's something wrong with the coordinates. And then it real quick cuts to Chris Pratt falling.
Yeah, but
they didn't spend,
but they never
wasn't enough.
They never explained what the problem with the coordinates were or why it happened. Because they've done these jumps multiple times. They know that,
they've been doing it for years.
They've got it down. So what happened in this particular instance that messed things up?
Plot device.
But guys, I finished my drink. And I got to head out. So I'm going to sign off and let you guys polish off the conversation.
All right.
I almost got a plate of nachos for free, though. That would have been awesome. But yeah, signing off, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I will see you guys next week. I'll be back in town, and our recording will be as normal. But I appreciate being able to do this. This is pretty cool.
We miss you,
Little
Alex.
Test subject. I miss you guys, too. I'm so happy you guys are doing the podcast.
We're drinking all of the booze.
Good. Keep drinking. It'll make the movie better.
Enjoy your flight home.
All right. See you guys later.
Okay,
Safe
bud.
travels.
Stay salty.
Stay salty, my friends.
Stay salty, my friends.
Stay salty, my friends.
Leave it to Alex to make excuses for a terrible movie.
I know.
You guys, this movie was
It's just
amazing.
his
I loved
way.
it. I
It was
love
so good.
my
His
kids.
way.
I love my life. I'm gonna go. See ya.
God, it was so wholesome and had such a good
Yeah.
family message.
It made me love my family, and now I'm
Oh.
so far away from them.
I didn't see that. I didn't get that.
I mean, I didn't like. Well, there was a whole broken family theme running through this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Chris Pratt,
Second chances.
second chances. It's a father-daughter story, but it's also a father-son story.
Yes.
Works on a lot of different levels, and there are good things to this movie, but the bad things just outweigh them.
Absolutely.
So Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about your problems with the film?
Oh, it's the same thing that I have with Independence Day. I mean, it's just, it's
a silly little farce.
Look, we can do so much better. We can just do so much better, and the writing can be better. And I understand budget limitations and things like that. But okay, I watched Independence Day this weekend because of the 4th of July, and it was the same problem. They sent 33 fighter jets with 4 missiles apiece to destroy the city-sized flying saucer they knew nothing about. And they're like, "We got this." Yeah, and the missile's not even strong enough to blow up a fighter that the Independence Day aliens are using.
It was the 90s, and they weren't asking as much from their audience in terms of suspension of disbelief. It is now 2021.
Yeah, we're in the future
it's
now.
A different story.
So, okay, time travel. We know the future. We know what's coming, right? We know it.
Yeah.
It's written down. We know history because it's all just history now. And it's not like propaganda history where it's all faked by the government. This is all real. And it's pretty established, right? It's just like, what was the Tom Cruise one? Live, Die, Repeat, or whatever the real movie was called.
The Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Okay, so the whole point with the alien technology was they could go back in time and say, "Oh, okay, we did this wrong. Let's do it this way this time," and they can just keep doing that until we know exactly what we're supposed to do. Do something. I saw Pacific Rim. It was terrible, but they built robots and walls and guns and stuff. They're like, we figured this out.
I love that.
Why couldn't we do that? No, we sent Jill from next door. With a gun that can't kill these things to fight for 7 days only.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's nonsense. They know nothing about where they're going. They know nothing about the missions. Nothing. It's all ridiculous. And it's a losing battle.
I didn't understand the whole why 7 days thing. Why not? We're gonna take you for a tour.
It's because of science.
Wormhole limitations. I don't know how wormholes work. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I think that they had the 7-day thing just because they wanted people to have hope that they weren't going to be stuck in the future.
It was a cool plot device.
Yeah.
You just got to go for a few days, get it over with, and you're good.
Yeah.
If you live.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You probably won't.
You'll be back in 7 days for sure, as long as you're alive. You might not have all of your parts.
They're literally sending librarians in their short skirts and heels into a combat zone.
Yeah. Overweight fat dudes. Like
no
me.
Cargo shorts. that was rude. No cargo shorts. But you can be dressed like a chef, and they'll send you to the future to fight.
What's wrong with cargo shorts?
Yeah,
you got an extra pocket you can put shit in.
Yeah,
it ain't no big deal.
No,
they won't even let you change out of your work clothes before you get sent into the future.
Yeah.
I mean, like the whole thing was kind of silly because basically when Chris Pratt gets called in to, be evaluated, it's revealed that he's going to die in 8 years' time, and that's one of the reasons why he's being sent into the future is because he died before the war started. His death would have a negligible impact on the future. So like there's this concept that the people that they're sending forward in time are being sent there because they're expendable, and but there's this concept that time travel, like the future can be changed if they mess something up. So, but if the future can be changed, why aren't they working to change it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my entire problem.
And this has been the Salty Nerd Podcast.
Yeah. So we all agree on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a silly premise.
Like the entire premise for the movie doesn't make sense. Is it a fun movie? Does it look good? Sure. But does the entire basis of the movie make any kind of sense?
No.
Not really.
Well, here's the thing about time travel movies. I know Alex has just said like there's never a good time travel movie, and he's right, but there's never a good one because the people who use time travel in their films don't tend to think it through. There are a couple of good time travel stories out there, but the problem with this movie is that they didn't, even though they worked to kind of brush aside some of the objections that time travel logic brings into the story, they never really established what the time travel rules were. So they basically said that there are 2 points in time, one in the future and one in the 30 years in the past. And you can only travel between those 2 points. And because time is like a linear flow, like a river, those 2 points are always in real time away from each other. So if you were to travel forward in time right now, you'd show up exactly 30 years in the future from the point you were at. But if you were to travel back in time an hour later, you'd show up an hour later in the past than from when you left. So they bothered to establish that, right?
Yes.
But the issue then becomes, it's like they should have established that while that bridge is established, the future can't be changed, right?
Oh, now that's an interesting.
Yeah, like they didn't say this in the movie, but
No, they don't.
But the minute that the bridge failed, when it got overrun in the future, that's when Chris Pratt was able to change the past, right? He was able
Or
to
affect the future.
Yeah, he was able to affect things so that future didn't happen.
That's interesting.
But he wasn't able to do that until that future was severed from that link.
Which just makes me double down on my whole like bring everybody to the past, destroy the bridge, work on it,
fight. You got 28 years.
Fix it. Yeah.
But here's the thing. So what Chris Pratt did brings up a grandfather paradox, which is a time travel issue where if you go back in time and kill your grandfather, you would never be born. So how can you travel back in time to kill your grandfather?
Right.
Philip J. Fry traveled back in time, became his own grandfather so that he could save the universe in the future.
Sick.
But the grandfather paradox is basically at play here, where it's like if Chris Pratt killed these aliens so that the war never happened, that would mean that time travel would never have been invented. They'd have never had people come back to the past to recruit people into the future.
That is
he would have never known like how to find those things. So, you know, the minute he changed that, he created a paradox. And this is the type of thing where like if they had just established in the movie, hey, you know, alternate timelines exist and this is why we can do this stuff. And this is why when you change the past or change the future, like, you know, you can do this. Like if they had just bothered to set that stuff up in this movie, it would have made so much more sense and would have been a better movie for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no. It's the practicality of the movie that bothers me. It's the little things they could have done to make the movie make more sense and make better. Time travel's fun and you can't think about it too much because it's impossible. But what they did, boo.
Yeah, like the actual logistics of their plan
Boo.
weren't good.
Boo. It was a terrible plan. I want to be convinced. Tenet was more convincing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would agree.
I take that back. I take that back. Tenet,
That movie was dog shit. Dude.
Tenet convinced me Chris Nolan doesn't know how to make a movie.
No,
That's what Tenet did.
it does not. It was
Okay.
bad.
Ugh.
Well, at least Tenet thought through their time travel stuff.
Oh, how dare you.
Get out of here, man.
We're not doing this again.
I watched that movie with you.
I know, and it was confusing. As
Oh,
hell.
God.
Look, time travel's always ridiculous. Time travel never makes sense. If Bill and Ted can do it, anyone can.
I need to go take an ibuprofen now just for thinking about that movie.
But I mean, there are little logistical issues with this movie. So,
Oh,
so at
yes.
the end,
So many.
You know, Chris Pratt brings back the toxin that is strong enough to kill the female.
And nobody gives a shit.
Well, nobody gives a crap, true. But when they go and they find the spaceship, okay, they find out that all these, you know, white spikes are in hibernation mode. And so they decide to inject them with the toxins. Now, they don't go to the queen first. No. They instead of killing her first.
Oh, can we not talk about this whole scene? Because my God.
Yeah. Well,
Why didn't they just blow it up?
Oh.
Well, that's the thing too, is like if they didn't kill the queen first with the toxin and they have an explosive that's big enough to create a crater in the earth in the spaceship, why did they have to use the toxin? Why couldn't they have just blown it up to begin with?
Oh, I got it. It's World of the War and you have to use a virus to win. It's just War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Independence Day was the same thing. It's the same thing. It's War of the Worlds. You have to use a virus to win.
But the thing is, it's
just a rewrite.
It's just the story logic that the characters were following was really bad.
We're talking about logic.
Yeah.
And who were the aliens that crash landed there with the things in them?
They never
I want to know who
explained.
those guys were.
Is that in part 2?
I guess.
They're going to get
Listen,
mad because they
There's
killed all their
already a
white
part
claws?
2. It's in part 1.
It's the Prometheans and they weren't the xenomorphs this time. They were just white claws.
White
And they were
claws.
like, yeah, we don't have xenomorphs. We have white claws.
We have white claws.
Yeah, sorry.
But
we bred these white claws to fight the xenomorphs.
Ooh, now that's a movie I
Yeah, that
watched.
was-
Oh, now we're talking.
but guys, the climax of this movie has Chris Pratt having a fist fight with,
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the
It's
alien
a hand-to-hand
I'm
combat.
like, are you serious, Ryan? Just die, die. I'm like, what? But they did kind of make fun of it. It's like, did you really just say die when you were fighting that thing?
The final fight scene was fun. Like I liked that whole thing. It's just, boy, there's just.
another issue.
How do you write a movie? Can I just write a movie and
You
just
can.
and just get it greenlit? It doesn't have to make any
Just
sense.
mail it into Netflix.
Apparently, or
Can I
Amazon.
have a
or-
credit for this?
The
Yeah.
less
Thanks, guys.
sense, the better.
Is that what we come down to?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
it's always been like that. Anyone can get a movie made if they have the right connections.
Sure.
All right. So, Tom, we know what you felt about this movie. Vader, what were your thoughts on the Tomorrow War?
I had to restart this movie like 3 times. I stopped, restarted, stopped, restarted. I just
Go into that a little bit more.
I had a really hard time getting into this thing. It was just so weird and contrived, and the time travel seemed kind of goofy to me. And
Also, did it need to be 2.5 hours long?
No, it was absolutely, it was 45 minutes too long.
It could have been a really good hour and 45-minute movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then just ended it and with like, we have the cure. And that could have been the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The whole, I don't know, just the whole thing just seemed really kind of goofy and weird. And I just, normally I like these popcorn kind of just turn your brain off kind of movies, but this one I just kind of had a hard time with. I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy this movie. And usually I like stupid movies with Chris Pratt in them, but this one just wasn't it.
Yeah, you like Chris Pratt. I mean, Chris Pratt's good.
Yeah.
He's always good. He's fun.
Yeah.
But oof.
Yeah, I love Chris Pratt, but I don't think he was enough to save this movie because it was just like there were so many fundamental flaws with this film. And it's a shame because, this was the first movie that Chris Pratt actually executive produced, which means that he had a say in the creative process. The film was originally entitled Ghost Draft, I guess in terms of like the draft into the future.
Because these people are all already dead.
Yeah, but
well, that would have been better. They could have followed that. They could have gone with that theme for the show.
Well, I guess they thought that the title just wasn't really reflective of the movie, so they wanted to change it. But this was actually originally supposed to be one of Paramount's big summer blockbuster films that it was going to release before COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, one of the things that Paramount did was instead of sitting on their big movies for like a year, they went and they basically sold them to streaming services. And we've seen other Paramount pictures that Amazon bought, like the Tom Clancy one, Without Remorse, with Michael B. Jordan. So like that was originally going to be a Paramount release. That
you guys didn't like that one?
Oh,
it's all right.
Yeah, but this was another one where basically Amazon paid them like $200 million for this movie.
Oh, they got a good deal.
Yeah,
or the Paramount.
Everybody watched it.
So, I don't know.
As long as you're watching it, I don't think they really care.
Yeah, but this is a movie that was meant to be like a big theatrical release, and now it's a streaming premiere for Amazon. And so like, I kind of almost feel like if this were a theatrical release, people would be a lot more critical of it. But because it's a streaming movie, like we're kind of used to streaming movies being dumb.
Do you think that's the thing? Are we easier on streaming movies than we are on theatrical?
We should be.
Well, I feel like we've had so many very really bad like streaming exclusives that we're kind of, it's almost like the direct to video type thing where it's like, okay, it's dumb. We know it's dumb because it's a streaming exclusive.
Right. Yeah, but these things that are being streamed right now, they all have like the same budget as something that's coming out in the theaters. So why aren't we holding them to the same standard? Is it because we've all just been sitting home watching movies for the last 2 years that we're just like, we'll take whatever?
We're just like happy to get anything at this point?
Yeah, like studios are like, they'll eat it up. It's fine.
I mean,
that's a good point.
I'll go to the theaters when I can to watch these kind of movies. We went and watched King Kong in the theater.
Oh, it's fine.
And it's a big dumb stupid
Quiet
movie.
Place 2.
But I loved it. Yeah.
Quiet Place 2 was good though.
Yeah.
Ooh, better monster. White Claw or whatever we call the thing from Quiet Place.
I love that we're still calling it White Claw.
Yeah. Basically the same creature.
That's what we do on this show. We just rename stuff.
Yeah.
The booze.
I think the Quiet Place 2 creature is better. And I think it probably has everything to do with the fact that like it's silent and then when it happens, it's so jarring.
I want to call them sound stalkers.
Sound stalkers.
Ooh, did they even have a name?
I
don't think so.
I don't think they had a name.
But like I wasn't impressed with the monster in this.
I really
But it's very similar, right?
Yeah, but like the lead up was
like ambiguous animal killing everybody.
We can't even show it to you because it's too scary. I was expecting something that didn't look like something I'd already seen before.
It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
If that thing was like running at me, I'd probably be afraid.
But
I would be afraid if either one of them were following me.
But also, like, it's not so scary. We can't even show it to you before we send you to fight it. Like, I would have rather never seen the monster.
You're disagreeing with me at this point.
Use my
The whole
imagination.
problem is, why would you choose that to be your strategy? Out of all the people and they all agreed this was the best decision.
Yeah.
This is the best decision?
And it just left us with more questions.
The way the news media worked, you would have seen pictures of those things all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
People would have been educated on them before they were sent in the future.
Sure. They wouldn't be teaching them about volcanoes in school. They'd be teaching them how to kill a monster in the future. That's what they should be doing.
If you see this, hit it in its belly.
Yes.
And also, it was a worldwide thing. So, like,
worldwide
countries from around the world were drafting people to fight this future war because these aliens didn't care about politics or whatever. So, like, it was
they're just here to get supper.
It was a global unifying thing. And so, at the end, when the director of defense wouldn't send them to Russia for taxpayer political reasons, like, how much taxpayer money would it cost to send 5 people to Russia?
I was just thinking about that. It's like, so they all the soldiers show up in this worldwide televised soccer match, right? And then shortly after that,
the World Cup, wasn't it?
And shortly after that, we fast forward a little bit, and it's like all of the world governments have come together to start this draft and to send people into the future, and we're all big one happy world family. But then when Chris Pratt gets back 7 days later, it's like, oh no, I can't send somebody over to Russia. They're our biggest, deepest, hardest enemies. That makes no fucking sense. I just now caught that.
This is
like,
just,
what is going on with this movie?
This is just like
no one debriefed him when he came back from the future with the vial of liquid he wouldn't release from his hand.
Yeah. This is just like when you watch a movie and like your good guy isn't a cop, but he's fighting against like the cops who are dumb, but on a bigger scale. The entire government of all the world, all of the governments are doofuses, and Chris Pratt is the only guy that can save the day.
I also like how Chris Pratt has like a direct line to the director of defense, where he can just go up to him and be like, hey, we need to go to Russia, and he's like, no, fuck off.
And so where did they get all these guns and fancy snowmobiles and shit?
His dad.
Yeah, his dad is kind of like an off-grid living type guy.
All the answers right there.
His dad.
He had a plane out back.
His dad is the ultimate MacGuffin for this movie.
He had a C-130. He mentioned that. Sure. It's a cargo ship. Okay.
I was like, I need this thing off my arm. Oh, okay, no problem. Come on over here.
Yeah.
How about when he throws a glass of booze on his son to see if he's wearing a wire in the beginning?
I do the same thing.
J. Jonah Jameson is connected.
Yeah.
In this movie.
His name is Conspiracy Santa.
Conspiracy Santa. Yeah, no, there's just.
I love it when we talk about these movies on the show because the shows actually get dumber.
Yeah,
as we go along, it's like, oh my god, I hate this movie even more now. That's fantastic.
Well, Tom, wasn't that scene where they're, kind of petitioning the director of defense to send them to Russia? Wasn't that one of your favorites?
Yeah. I was. It's. There's so many painful moments in this movie, and there's just so many. It's 7 hours. Is that right, Jude?
Yeah,
like a 7-hour movie.
7 hours.
7 hours, 1,400 minutes.
It's really hard to remember all the dialogue, but I was just having like a moment. I was just like, oh my god, the director of defense was like, I can't give you taxpayer dollars to go possibly stop this war to begin with.
Save
Yeah,
Earth?
what we need to do is not train
here.
Pam from down the street.
They go shoot a M16 into
at an animal you've never seen before.
We got to save as much money as possible in case the human race doesn't get killed.
Well, the funny thing is by that point, they couldn't even send people into the future anymore, so they didn't need to train anyone.
Well, no, you just got to go to Pahrump and buy some fireworks and light them off on a field and walk through it.
I'll tell you what.
That's basically what that looked like.
I think just the longer I live, the more I understand just moving to Alaska and just living off the grid and fishing and hunting bears.
Ice fishing. We should learn how to ice fish.
It's the same as regular fishing, but there's ice.
With more sunlight. There's more sunlight in Alaska.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, also,
or less. One or the other. It depends when you're moving up there.
You would think that when Chris Pratt brought that to the director of defense, that the woman who was in charge of the future military back in the past, who was still there, like she still had, people that were answering to her. She was still running some stuff. You'd think that he'd go to her and be like, hey, this is what's up. And she'd go to the director of defense and be like, you need to give them money or something, something other than just them getting the brush off because we need underdogs for the.
Like, how much is gasoline? You know what I mean? Like, you can't fly some commandos just to double check. Just double check. And then when you find the spaceship, double check. Just take a look around.
Well, the funniest thing is when they
take a selfie with it, send it to someone.
Yeah, look around. Just real quick.
Throw some bunker busters down there. Just take care of it. It's not
one tactical nuke in the middle of nowhere. We're all done.
It's over.
Like, we found them, sir. Here's a picture.
All right.
Yeah, can we nuke this? That's taxpayer nukes. I don't know if we can send those to Russia.
Know about that.
You asked for too much.
You want us to bomb Russia?
Do you think all the other podcasts out there are like, man, this movie's terrible? Let's
yes,
rewrite it.
I think so too.
What would you do different?
Kate is just broke.
If you were making this movie.
Ooh.
I'd probably want to sit down and work out the time travel aspect of it first and foremost. But the funniest thing to me is when they did find the alien spacecraft, and they decided, or they basically said like, oh, we can't take the time to tell governments about this because they won't do anything once we found the cause of Earth's end in the future.
Oh, I know.
So we got to take care of this ourselves.
I know how I'd rewrite this movie.
There's one thing that confused me, and you just reminded me. When they find the spaceship, and all of the aliens that were driving the spaceship are like kind of hung up in the cockpit.
Yeah.
What was that about?
It was crashed.
Why are they hung from the ceiling?
They were in their chairs, but it's upside down.
Yeah, the spaceship was upside down.
They were still strapped in, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
But it made it seem like the white spikes had kind of hung them there,
Yeah.
like they did with the scientists.
They were biological weapons. They're
it
xenomorphs.
looked
Same
like-
thing.
No, we understand that.
Oh.
But what we're saying is that it was confusing the way that it was
Oh.
presented.
It looked like they
So-
were hung up like meat locker style.
What they should have
They
done.
were.
What they should have done is Chris Pratt should have taken his group of commandos and gone underneath the glacier, and they find an ancient Inca pyramid. Okay.
Go on.
That
Go
turns,
on.
That turns
Yeah,
into
tell
like
me
this.
more.
That turns into like this big shape-shifting puzzle.
Okay.
I've never heard of this.
All
This
right.
is interesting.
And then they wake these things up, and they have to kill them all before they get to the surface.
Oh man,
Yeah, pretty good, right?
pretty good. Is there any like
Then
invisible
Well,
hunting?
whatever you want to put into it, it could be great.
Hmm.
That could have been number 2.
Yeah,
second movie.
introduce
so while they're
multiple
down
alien
there,
races?
while they're down there, another alien spacecraft
That's right.
lands.
It's like to check up on their crashed one
And
because they
like,
just got there.
it's the Bermuda Triangle for spaceships. Every spaceship that tries to fly over Earth crashes in this spot.
When they
And
fly
there's
over that
just
spot.
layer upon layer of frozen alien species.
I just
So white
yeah.
spikes versus predator, basically.
Yeah,
There you
versus
go.
xenomorph versus
Yeah. Let's do it all.
Quiet Place versus
Yes.
Those
see who wins.
Throw some Green Lantern in there. Get some Ryan
White
Reynolds.
spikes
Yes.
versus
Yes.
white claws.
Yes.
White spikes and white claws.
Did you try
The white stripes. The white
feeding
stripes
it-
are there.
Yeah, did you try feeding it a white claw and just see what happened?
So could we get a
With the white lions.
So I think we need to get a whiteboard out and just really write down every movie that
Yeah.
this movie is already.
And, like,
Yes.
David Coverdale could write the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's just a weird combination. Can we just do that? Can we just combine?
Can I ask you guys, was the reveal that Yvonne Straczynski was Chris Pratt's daughter, did that surprise anyone?
Well,
No.
you saw my text, right? I go, is this chick his daughter? Never mind.
I think Tom knew it for the trailer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, I know when we were watching it, the minute that she showed up on screen, I was like, that's his daughter, right?
Yeah.
And turns out, yep.
Yeah.
Certainly was. But she's like the ultimate daughter. Like, she's like, I got 12 degrees.
Mhm.
You
I'm
know.
super
I went to
Smart.
MIT.
Yeah, she loves her daddy very, very much.
He was like, I thought you'd go into science. She's like, I did.
yeah.
But I'm,
And I'm a colonel.
Cal State,
I'm,
MIT.
ooh.
Whoa.
Mic drop.
Should learn how to count cards.
You know, one of the things
Play
that
blackjack.
one of the things that really annoyed me about this movie
One.
is that when after they capture the female, right,
Mhm.
and they have to find out how to, create a toxin that works on her. They take her to the one place that they don't want attacked. The oil rig in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the ocean, that has the time travel technology
2 walls.
that they are relying on to save the world.
Oh, that's one thing that this beast has over the Quiet Place beast, because the Quiet Place beast couldn't swim.
Oh, this one swims like a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no
But-
problem.
Well, these things can do anything.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can
but-
fly with their squirrel
They're
gliders.
doing the 100 meter in 3
okay,
seconds.
okay. I wasn't imagining that, right? They
No,
were
they-
flying
They
at
were
one
they were
point.
they were squirrel gliding.
I did. Okay, I wasn't imagining because I swear
Yeah.
to God, it never came up again. I'm like, did I just imagine that
It's like,
scene?
man, these things can go anywhere.
Did that happen?
But the logic in this movie, so like they take this creature that can summon pretty much an entire army of
Yeah.
white spikes to the one place that they don't want overrun. They couldn't set up like a satellite lab somewhere just for safety's sake.
Maybe in the past.
Also, another thing is when
God, could they just do that?
Why couldn't they try?
Oh Jesus!
Why couldn't they put it on like a giant helicarrier with shield? That would have been cool.
another thing is
This is the
that
future, right?
when Chris Pratt and his group arrive in the future, they're like, oh, the city of Miami is being overrun by white spikes. We're bombing it. I don't have any control to stop the bombing. So you need to get out of there, but you need to get this stuff before you do because it's super important.
Like, aren't you the military? Why don't you have control?
And also,
over the
isn't
bomb?
she in charge?
Right.
Like she looked like she was in charge.
Yeah, I feel like she was the John Connor, right?
Yeah.
Well, but the whole thing is like, if that research was so important, they couldn't just tell the bombers to like, hey, hold off for a bit until we extract these guys. I
Yeah.
mean, the regular military can do that, can't
Let's
they?
pop a pin in that bomb situation.
Yeah, we're going to call off the airstrike.
Just
Call
do
it
it.
off, sir. Call it off.
Do a couple more laps around the city,
Yeah.
please, before you drop your bombs.
Yeah, you got fuel? Give him 5 minutes. Loop. Just
Yeah,
No,
so
can't do it.
here's how I would fix the movie. I'm going to go to the future.
Okay.
I'm going to grab the female. I'm going to cryo freeze her, take her back to the past so that she can't wake up or summon her troops. And I'm going to figure out a cure for this problem.
Well, the crazy thing is like, you don't even need to do that, right? Because like, as soon as they were getting overwhelmed by the white spikes, you know, they were like, oh, we can't use, this is our only toxin. We can't use it on her. Like, use a gun.
Yeah.
Shoot that thing. Kill it.
Yeah.
We've already established that guns work and also so do bombs.
Fire. Pretty much anything kills it.
Yeah.
You just got
You
to.
just got to hit in the right spot.
Yeah, he's got a thick back.
Hey, you know that airstrike you were going to do on Miami?
Yeah.
Can we have that right here?
No, taxpayer money.
Ah, shit.
The taxpayers have not approved this. I work for the taxpayers, not you.
There's less taxpayers in the future, so that money is not going to stretch very
I don't
far.
think there's technically
How,
taxes.
how
in the
come in
future.
1951 they just say, "Oh, it just came from Russia somewhere"? They never figured out that came out of a ship or anything.
Mm-mm.
Well, they assumed that it did come from a ship, but they never saw the ship land because by the
Right.
time the first white spikes were spotted, they assumed that that was when they arrived. But
Terrible.
Terrible. It really is
It
terrible.
was just sitting right there.
Yeah, terrible.
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 So, what did you guys think of the climax where basically Chris Pratt is fist fighting the
Awful.
queen?
I thought it was absurd.
Really? I loved it.
You
Oh, so much
would.
fun. Father and son coming together to save the world against an irate woman. I loved it.
That's a good bonding
I
moment.
great
appreciated the
moment.
father-son stuff and the father-daughter stuff mostly. And I thought the fist fight was absurd.
One of
We
the,
spent all of this time getting a serum and learning that hit him in the neck or the belly with the gun and then the bombs. And then he just punches them a bunch.
He shot him a lot too. He just
And,
shoot
and
the
he
arm off.
stuck him with the serum. And
Mm-hmm. He got shot in the
the
leg.
thing bit its
I
arm
did
off.
like
with
the
a spike.
part. I did like the part where he
Flesh wound.
shot him in the arm and the beast cut its own arm off.
was
That
awesome.
that was sick.
Yeah, it was fun.
one of the things that I got really annoyed with in the climax was, so at one point, J.K. Simmons, in order to save Chris Pratt, cuts his hand open because these things can sense blood from like 300 miles away or something like that.
Yeah, they said that.
So
at some
he's
point.
basically trying to sacrifice himself to save his son by exposing blood to the air. The thing is like, this is a J.J. Abrams type thing where like the audience knows that because it was explained earlier in the movie, but J.K. Simmons was never exposed to that
that's true.
information.
Oh.
God damn.
So it's just another
I love those
example of really
moments.
bad writing.
Oh, I love those moments. You never pay attention.
I figured something else out that this movie needs. It needs Kevin Bacon fighting underground versions of these things.
We need to get Tremors in on this.
Yes, some tremors.
Okay, I'm into
Because
this.
they have the tentacle things.
Yeah,
you know?
and then
Sandworms.
Instead of Kevin Bacon, though, I would present Michael Gross because he seems more kind of attuned
How-
to fighting those
How
things.
dare you?
Reba McEntire.
Yeah, Michael Gross and Reba McEntire.
And Reba was on next level.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like her fear was like zero. Yeah.
Yeah.
She don't give a shit.
No, she didn't give a shit.
She gonna get these
And she was all
stupid worms.
country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we can put them all
She's
together.
got chewing tobacco in her lip.
Xenomorphs,
Mhm.
tremors, white claws,
Mm-hmm.
predators.
Mm-hmm.
What else are we throwing in there?
Quiet Place, whatever those things
Sandworms.
are called.
Quiet Place, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
those, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm down.
I mean, they're all.
Bigfoot,
So I'm all battle it out.
Can we
Loch
just-
Ness.
Can we throw zombies in there?
I don't see why not.
Whatever, sure.
That's a
All in
great.
favor of zombies.
Uh-huh. Oh
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'll take it easy. Yeah, this sounds fun.
Yeah.
Who wins?
This is all for the sequel.
I think the Tremors ones
Yeah.
wins
You
because they
nipping?
just go underground and wait till the other ones are all dead.
Okay.
Oh, is this the battle we're gonna have? We're gonna talk out who's gonna win this one
It's gonna be rad.
because obviously the xenomorphs are gonna win, you guys. I mean, obviously.
well, they just
They have the acid blood.
they just impregnate the other ones and turn them into like hybrids of the xenomorphs.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the interesting things about this movie
Space rape.
in terms of like its potential for a sequel is that we have the aliens who were transporting the white spikes as a biological weapon. It wasn't clear if Earth was actually their target or not. They could have just crash landed on Earth. So it could be that with the sequel, these aliens show up.
So Earth is LV-246.
or whatever.
Where the-
But it
where
could
the
be.
Yeah,
crash
their
landed.
brothers show up and they're like, "Hey, we know they crashed here.
Where are they at?
Where the hell are my brothers
Why'd
and
you
sisters?"
nuke our friends' ship?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The cargo was very valuable.
Yeah, but it could be that alien race is the thing that, you know,
I
is the
saw-
plot point for the sequel, and they have more white spikes that they're going to drop on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Prometheus and the sequel to Prometheus. What was the name of that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Was it Requiem? Aliens Requiem?
I don't
No,
know.
because there was a whole sequel that didn't make any sense.
Was that the one where they were on the planet?
Yeah,
with Lawrence
Magneto.
Fishburne?
Magneto was still around,
Oh, no.
and yeah, Magneto. No, you're thinking of Predators.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Lawrence
I'm
Fishburne.
pretty sure
yeah.
that's
Magneto
Aliens
was
Requiem.
there, but he was only a head. But then the other Magneto was there, who was a body, and then he was doing experiments.
I am not drunk enough for this.
You know, doesn't remember
We
this
need
one?
to drink more.
This one made less sense than Prometheus, even though I liked them all. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I think the bottom line is this movie is trash, right?
It's not good.
Unless you're a salty nerd. Then,
I
then it's
wouldn't
okay.
The little girl character doesn't make any sense. A lot of this movie doesn't make any sense. Why they're also amped about the World Cup doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Woo, World
Yeah,
Cup.
Yeah.
a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Americans don't care about the World Cup.
Not-
That is
we
a
do
fact.
not.
only if America is in the final.
Right.
And it was not.
And then it's barely tolerable.
Yes, then it's only your uppitiest friends that are really excited and they're really fans. They know
in a
stats.
movie about time travel and alien invasion, that was the most unrealistic thing.
True.
Americans watching the World Cup.
They're having a party to watch.
on Christmas.
We
no
don't
less.
watch soccer.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he lives in that house as a school teacher's salary?
Get outta
Ridiculous.
This
Ridiculous.
is
Well,
completely
no, he had
fake.
his military pay, his pension.
And his wife was a counselor.
I'm pretty sure he's younger than me. I don't think he's retired from the military.
Was this one of those things that they did to like pander towards a more international crowd? to
Oh, it
make
was
them
a
more-
lot of pandering. Yeah, the whole beginning's kind of flooding back. The whole party is very weird.
Yes.
It's very weird.
Alien,
not the
Alien
Super Bowl.
Covenant is the sequel to.
Oh,
Yes,
Covenant.
yes,
There we
yeah.
go. That wouldn't make as much sense as any of them, I guess.
So this movie didn't make me irate watching it, like that, and that's what I kind of gauge. Like this is trash on. It
Yeah.
didn't make me angry.
If I had to grade it, it wouldn't be like a 2.
It's way too long.
It is way too long.
I fell asleep for the last 20 minutes, and I had to rewatch it the next day, and it didn't endear it to me at all. I don't even think we need anything past him getting back to the past with the serum. We could have cut all of that out.
We could cut all that out.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we give our final thoughts and our final ratings? Tom, what did you think of the Tomorrow War, and what would you rate it?
Okay, it's right up my alley with things that I want to see. So I immediately can't hate on it too much. So I'm giving it a 3. Just because it is definitely the kind of movie that I'm gonna watch, and it could be bad or good. I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
It's like if it has a sword, I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
watch it. It's unforgivable even for myself that I've watched the movie Warcraft. I don't know 6 times for no good reason.
I actually enjoyed that movie better than this one.
Yeah, I know, and I shouldn't. It's garbage. I know, but yeah.
Lokaro God.
You're a bit of a Pavlov's dog for like aliens and swords.
I like a good world ender. I like an apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
I always see myself as John Connor no matter what the situation. I am
Okay.
John Connor. I will save you. So every time I see that in a movie, it does get me excited. So a 2.5 or a 3 because
Okay.
it sucks, but it's pretty and it's not bad if you don't think about it. Alex isn't wrong. He's just not right.
That's Alex in a nutshell.
He's not wrong. He's just not right.
That is about right. I pulled up Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's low.
No,
It's not?
it is not. I don't understand these people. Sometimes I feel like people just want to give ratings, a good rating to a movie like this just because.
Yeah.
But-
I don't even read those
But
things.
I hardly ever look at Rotten Tomatoes because it's just bullshit.
It's broken now.
It
Yeah.
really is.
It's
It has
very
been for a
broken.
while. But critics are at 54%, which
Who are the critics now?
well, I don't know who Rotten Tomatoes critics are, but
22-year-old
Yeah.
English majors
But-
at
Chris Pratt's new wife.
yeah, there you go.
but I always try to look at the audience score because they're a little more usually in line with my thinking on a lot of movies like this.
in the sense of I like this kind of movie. What do people who like this kind of movie think?
Right, right.
Okay,
So, but it's weird because they got this movie at an 82%
that's impressive.
versus a 54 versus the critics. And man, I'm going with the critics on this one. This movie is not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that are just saying they like this movie just because they don't want to agree with the media.
Like they can't come up with a
Narrative of it.
cohesive reason why it's not good.
Right. This movie isn't good, guys. It's kind of trash. I mean, it, like Salty says, it's a turn your brain off movie, but I didn't like it.
But it's time travel. I want to have my brain on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah. It
It's
should be
just-
smart. Give me some smart.
Give me something that I can like about this movie other than cool special effects. I need more than cool special effects sometimes. I really do.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is not a turn your brain off movie.
No, there's too
No.
much stuff that they try to make you think about that you really don't want to think about.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of happy that I'm not too out of shape to be a service person in the future. They can give me a gun, I can go shoot some things and probably die because I won't outrun.
Yeah,
these things.
they didn't care
But,
if you
uh,
could run.
die on
They
your
didn't care if you could run
No.
far, do a push up. None of that.
No, it
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Does this work?
It's like,
Does this work?
Can you climb up 2 flights of stairs without getting out of breath? No. Oh, well, you're good.
You're fine.
You're good.
It'll
No
probably be all
problem.
right.
But yeah, dumb movie, dumb premise. I feel bad for Chris Pratt that he made this piece of shit, and it's not good.
What would you rate it?
1.5.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
No boobs.
No argument.
There's no boobs. I can't give it an extra half star for that.
I do appreciate a good.
I appreciate some good boobs.
What is it? Grotesque nudity?
Gratuitous.
Gratuitous.
Yeah.
Not grotesque.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants that.
That's something different
like a naked
that you're
zombie.
also probably
It's like
into.
I kind of probably am.
Yeah, 1.5 stars.
Bummer.
All right, Jude,
Yeah.
what are your final thoughts? on
I
the-
don't hate it quite as much as Vader, but I ultimately I think it was fine. Not fine. Fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong
Fine.
with it, but I
Like-
think that the standards are probably pretty low anymore because most people are dumb, so they'll probably love it. So that makes sense why the audience is rating it 80% because y'all are dumb.
I was reading like comments, you know, when it pops up on like Media Blend or whatever, I
Yeah.
read the comments. 1 in 4 were very favorable,
Yeah.
like very
Like-
favorable.
Yeah.
Go watch some better movies.
Like
guys.
even like the writing is spot on, the acting is terrific. Like,
It's not though. Is it trash? No.
I
It's,
mean,
it's not trash.
They
to
made
me.
9 Fast and Furious movies, and I don't think that one of those makes any sense.
But
You
you
need
know
to
what?
tread carefully on that.
we
I've never
love-
seen a single one. I
We
don't. I
love
have
that
no idea.
movie. We love. It was unanimous.
That is a turn your brain off.
It was a
movie.
turn your brain off, fourth wall breaking, self-aware, fun, stupid ass summer movie.
Hilarious.
This is not.
I've
No.
never seen a single one.
This is not
Yeah.
a turn your brain off movie.
No, it's
Therefore,
sci-fi.
you have to be thinking while you're watching this.
Yes.
And if things don't make sense, it's really infuriating.
Yes.
And if you still like it, why?
Who's the
I would
audience?
really like to know who is rating
Yeah.
this movie
Who's
so
the,
high.
Who's the audience?
Yeah, and I'm sorry I called y'all dumb.
Oh,
I am
y'all.
kinda
y'all. Hey, y'all.
All right.
Oh wait,
so,
I didn't rate it. So I think I agree with Tom. 2.5.
2.5 sounds right.
2.5.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the reasons I think that audiences really like this is that it's not a preachy movie,
No.
and that's so rare nowadays.
Okay.
That's true.
We're like basically, you know, yeah, they mentioned kind of global warming, but it was not like hit you over the head, like Wokistan, like, you know, like here's my political message and you better accept it. So like,
Yeah,
I
I appreciate that.
I think the fact that that was absent in this movie helped people enjoy it more because that stuff always takes me out of a film when I'm watching it.
The politics and
Yeah.
yeah, I can't watch it anymore.
And they could have added that in with the fact that the global community had to come together and stuff like that. So the fact that they didn't, I think, is a point in favor of this movie. I think that's one of the reasons why audiences are responding so favorably.
I
can
think that's
see
a good
that.
point.
But not 82% good.
I agree. But another thing is that the critics have it out for Chris Pratt because
Yes.
he's an open Christian and, you know,
Second Amendment guy.
Yeah,
That's also true. Yeah.
and-
Married to a
and-
Schwarzenegger.
And so I think that they're also trying to like tank this movie with their reviews because they don't like Chris Pratt and they don't want him to succeed.
That's a real thing. That's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are hating on him a lot right now.
So I feel like that's a like both of those are on
Just-
the extremes on the opposite
Let
end.
me. I just want to point out, I like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, we all like
I think
Chris
he's
Pratt.
a really cool dude.
Yeah.
I love what
I
he
like Chris
does.
Pratt.
I like most of his movies. This one just wasn't it, man. It just You know,
I'll say this,
but it's not his fault.
Like I'll say this: Chris Pratt, the actors in this movie, the characters in this movie are all really good.
Yeah,
I
they're
totally
doing a
agree.
good job.
Yeah, totally agree.
I enjoyed every single character in this movie. J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons was great.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons as Conspiracy
he's
Santa.
fantastic.
You know, the black sidekick guy, I forget his name, but like Charlie.
Or
Okay.
red shirt.
Either or.
Yeah.
They're both good.
They're both good.
he did wear a red shirt, huh?
There's the one guy in the red shirt with the
But he
claw.
lives. Oh,
Yeah.
he does die at the very end.
He died on
Spoiler
his
alert.
terms.
Yes, that's true.
And then Charlie is the guy who was afraid the whole time, who went at the beast with a chainsaw or
Yeah, he did.
circular saw.
But
Didn't see that coming.
the point I'm saying is that all the actors, all the characters in this movie were really good.
Mhm.
The writing was really bad.
Yes.
Yes.
The direction was pretty good. Like, it's a pretty
Yeah,
looking movie.
okay.
The special effects are good. The action scenes were done well.
They did a lot with what they were given as far as the script.
Yeah. Like, if the script had been just a little bit better, like if they had done the time travel a little bit better, if they had kind of worked through a lot of the plot logic stuff, I would probably love this movie.
Yeah, it
But-
could have been awesome.
Yeah, but the fact is like the story problems are what hold this movie back, in my opinion. And I would give it a solid, I don't know, 2 Star-Lords out of 5.
Yeah.
2 out of 5.
Yeah.
And
I
I mean,
feel- I
the
feel like-
thing is, like, dummies like us are picking this thing apart
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense. Like, we have like professional script writers and people who are supposed to be smart weighing in on, is this believable when you're writing a movie about time travel? Do better. I am not that smart.
I feel like I'm going to get crucified.
That's it. I am not that smart.
I'm not, but I'm able to pick this apart.
Oh,
I
yeah,
shouldn't be able to.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to get picked apart because I'm being really hypocritical with my usual stance on movies like this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But there's just something about this movie that doesn't sit well with me. It is what it is, man.
Well, it's too long.
Yeah.
And it's got too many plot logic holes going on in it. Just from the point of view where it's not self-aware enough to be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go along with the ride.
Yeah, if this was funnier, I wouldn't have so many problems with it.
Yeah, like there's a lot of issues with this movie that
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like, if this was a comedy, I'd like it better.
Well, like the way that Fast and Furious 9 is like so funny that you don't care that things don't make sense because it knows who it is. I don't know that this knows who it is because it's not written well enough for it to be a believable, like, thriller, intense sci-fi time travel movie. It's not smart enough to be that. So if it were funnier, then it would make my expectations lower for the believability.
I don't know if saying it should be funnier is correct, but like it does take itself way too seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it was just a little bit less serious about like its premise, it could probably get away with a lot of these issues. But because it takes itself so seriously, the audience takes what it's presented with seriously, and it just falls apart if you think about it for more than 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So that was our discussion on the Tomorrow War. Matt Vader, why don't you tell everyone where they can find more of you?
You can come call me names and tell me how wrong I am.
Replace him with a balloon.
At Matt Vader 74 on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and the other stuff. Yep.
All right. And Jude, where can they find out more about you?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And Tom?
I'm around. You can find me if you really want. I'm on Instagram, Big T2681. I'm not too active, but if you really want to come say hi, we can make friends. And
if you want to check out Alex, you can find him at salty_nerd on Twitter. And for me, you can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com will take you to my Amazon page. Everyone, thank you for coming to this discussion of the Tomorrow War. We wish it was a better movie to talk about. But if you disagree with us, just let us know in the comments. And as always, stay salty, my friends.